I mean, Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP or like was he on the all-tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I struck out 17, and like stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher like been a part of like 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Yes, sir.
Sure, I'm a little late, boys, at the spring game, obviously, as you can see. Couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's do it. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, I thought, my God, if Chica is offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, we open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right.
Big day. Big day.
Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here on the campus of Click Here Digital every weekday, Monday through Friday, starting at 7 a.m. We appreciate you starting your Tuesday here with us as we're brought to you every single day by RMB Builders. Remember, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew over at RMB. You can find them online at rmb-builders.com or simply just hit them on Instagram at RMB Builders. And it's anything from customized home to an addition that you want around the house. Whatever you're looking for in the construction world, RMB can help you out, both in commercial and residential. RMB Builders. Our phone line brought to you daily by Southern Regional Medical Center. Coming up today, our Tuesday regulars. Wilson Alexander is going to be through here at 8:15 this morning. Wilson, of course, from NOLA.com, and the Advocate will stop in. We'll get a game day preview from Wilson, just a couple of days out here from LSU, Florida State, as we'll begin to dive into to some and more of the storylines between the Noles and Tigers coming up on Sunday night. Stephen Waguespack, gubernatorial candidate, will be through here at 8:15. Looking forward to seeing Wags and catching up with him, see what the campaign trail has been like. Looking forward to him seeing the new studios over here at Click Here Digital and how we can help him out for sure. And then we are going to talk to our guy from the Athletic Collection, who's got our football posters coming up. Brett is going to be through here at 8:30 this morning as well. So it's going to be a moving show. We're going to have a lot moving here, especially in the second hour. In the first hour, we're going to hear from Brian Kelly, as Kelly had his opening press luncheon to the season yesterday, as Coach Kelly met with the press just like he does every game week on Mondays. We were over there, had a chance to listen to what Coach Kelly had to say. Lots here on game week. His coach is looking forward. You can tell he's fired up that the season is here. It was good to be there. So make sure and hit the like, share, and comment button if you don't mind, by starting the day here with us. Remember, if you've not subscribed, we appreciate that subscription before we get going. And as you know, we're here live on the campus of Click Here Digital, just like we are every single day. If you want more information on Click Here Digital, it's online at clickheredigital.com. I am a direct contact to Click Here Digital, so you can email me at any time if you have questions, Jordy at Click Here Digital. But just like we tell you every day, managing leads, managing digital marketing campaigns, Facebook ad, Google ads, automotive world, legal world, medical world. If you're in that space and you need some help in your online presence and your digital ad presence, get in touch with us, clickheredigital.com, and you can email me, Jordy at Click Here Digital. All right, Stewie is in here on this Tuesday, as it's good to be here. Cut up a lot of sound bites, did Lloyd yesterday after Brian Kelly met with the press, and Coach, as we said, was saying a lot, man, as he talked a lot about his team in preparation, obviously being without one of their superstars in Mason Smith, and getting ready here for this rematch. And this, Stewie, is number one here of Brian Kelly yesterday speaking at the podium, and first time game week, and talking about the opportunity that they have this week going up against Florida State.
Another college football season is upon us, and we certainly have picked a great matchup. LSU and Florida State, top 10 matchup in week one, and we knew that this day would be coming. It's the only game on Sunday on ABC. It's just a great challenge for our football team, and they've been looking forward to this challenge. It's what motivates you in the off season. All the things that you do to prepare for a great game like this all comes to fruition on Sunday.
You know, the big storyline here in year two for Brian Kelly and LSU has really been about getting consistent, right? Being able to work through the things that they had to install last year, like practice methods and how you handled yourself on and off the field, just the expectation of being an LSU football player in the direction, under the direction of Brian Kelly. A lot of that stuff now is understood and built into the program. Now here in year two, it's about building consistency. Here's what Brian Kelly said he has seen from his group as they've tried to build that consistent model here in year two.
Where we've improved from last year is just overall, we're a smarter football team. We understand the systems, we understand the process, we understand the things necessary to become more consistent in everything that we do to be a championship football team.
That to me is, that's one of the advantages, obviously, that LSU has going into this matchup compared to last season, was you were just so curious about what they were going to look like, what the team was going to play like, how they were going to, what the even pregame routine is for a lot of these guys and the team was still, people were curious on what it was going to be like. Now you've got so much better of an understanding of who you are, and with Kelly in year two, just really an advantage for both teams. But year two with Brian Kelly, obviously he's the newer coach. Mike Norvell was, he was more on the hot seat than anything last season, while Kelly was making his debut in this matchup. So from Brian Kelly's standpoint, a year later, much more confident and consistent in the preparation, has really put him in a good spot. Here is Kelly talking about that preparation and what he's made of LSU going into this game.
We've made improvements in the technical development of our football team, the tactical development. Physically, we're better. I think mentally, we're better as a football team. Now you got to go out and execute. And so, we've been preparing since the last game we've played, and now we'll see what this team does when it comes time to perform. I have no idea. I know they've prepared really well, and my experience tells me that teams that prepare well, when they flip the switch to performance, that they can and will perform well.
What an anxious time for a coach. Like, things that we take for granted, times we take for granted, and you just show up and expect on Sunday the team is going to perform. Players are going to make plays. High-end guys are going to be in the end zone. You'll see Harold Perkins behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, everything that you expect, you just show up and think that happens, right? I mean, even guys like Kelly, who, you're in it, you're around it, you're sleeping it, you're breathing it, you're eating. I mean, it's every day. And you still, in this time period where it's game week, you're going through it, you're getting ready to go, you're getting ready to play, you still have no idea, right? Like, what it's going to look like, what it's going to play out like. And it's just got to be a very anxious time for a coach, especially in a situation where, like we've said, I get the feeling, and I've said this around people who are covering the team, and I've heard people kind of nod in agreement of, you get a sense that Kelly really believes that they're good. Watch your mic, Stewie. That they have a real chance to be a player in the SEC. So, I mean, this time period has to be, minutes have to go by like hours, right? On getting to Sunday. You just want to, you want to know. You want to know what you got. You want to know what it looks like. You want to know if Deshaun Walmack can play at this level. You want to know if Emory Jones is going to be able to hold up for 4 quarters against Jared Verse, right? What a matchup that's going to be against LSU's tackles and Will Campbell and Jones, and if they maybe decide to throw Lance Hurd in this weekend for a series. I mean, you think that Verse is going to smell blood in the water if Lance Hurd is playing right tackle this week? How confident is LSU in Lance Hurd when they look across the line of scrimmage and Verse is, just licking his chops waiting to get after a couple of these younger guys? What a test for Jones. What a test for Campbell. What a debut for Lance Hurd if in fact he does get his number called on Sunday. Kelly was talking a little bit about that, about Jared Verse and about what this defense, the challenges that they bring when you're talking about this Florida State team. But here he is talking about the quarterback matchup between Travis Rogers and Jaden Daniels going into this game.
Jordan Travis.
I'm sorry, yes, Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis and Jaden Daniels, I mean, two great quarterbacks, two elite quarterbacks that can make things happen. Jalen and Jordan, two guys that can run, can throw,
almost got BK.
Elusive.
A little Jalen in
Yeah,
there for
I
Jaden Daniels,
almost felt it. He slipped on Aaron Anderson yesterday.
What did he say?
When they asked him about punt returner and they asked him about kick returner, he went in and said, it was like, Caleb Jackson is going to be the field guy. And you could see it happening. Like, you could see in the moment, especially somebody like that, when you speak and you're like fishing and you're trying to remember something and some of the tactics that you use, I could like feel it 9 rows up, like just like, oh man, he's pulling, because he had like the press packet in front of him, and like the question was direct, and like he fired back. He was like, well, we're gonna have freshman Caleb Jackson back there as the front guy, and I'm gonna have another big time playmaker back there ready to catch punts a guy that's been just a big playmaker, and you see him like digging. He's like a playmaker that is just, we can't wait to watch him make plays back there. And I mean, finally, he's like, what's my guy's name? He looks at, and somebody from the top, I think it's one of the New Orleans, I think it might have been Garley Gillum, was like, Aaron Anderson? He was like, Aaron Anderson. He was like, man, how could I forget that guy's name? He's such a playmaker. But, I mean, like, yes.
It'll get you, Coach.
Yeah, it'll get you, man. I mean, when you slip on it, it's tough to watch. But here he is talking about that. Stewie, this is I was just looking at it, on number 12. This is BK talking about special teams, and what does he expect there?
You know, we're going to go with a true freshman and Caleb Jackson as the off returner. You know, I think, you know, having, you know, a dynamic player at the other side. Who am I missing? Who's my dynamic player? Yeah, Aaron. He's pretty dynamic. He'll be the on-ball returner and our punt returner. It's just a different look back there. Now, they got to field the ball. They've got to be able to do the little things the right way. But from a special team standpoint, you know, that's what we were looking for. Our miscues last year were evident, right? We didn't field the ball very well. But that coupled with, you know, Damon Ramos has been outstanding, you know, with field goals throughout camp. And Jay Bramlett has been a weapon. We think special teams should and can be a positive for us and influence games.
That was Kelly talking about the special teams and who to expect. I love Caleb Jackson back there.
I know.
I mean, like,
don't let him get on the field.
Like, I didn't know that it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
Game 1?
No red shirt for Caleb Jackson.
I mean, like, at some point, you got to believe they're going to be like, stop kicking it to Aaron Anderson.
And
like, just kick it up and let's see what this
Kick
guy
it to the
28's
freshman.
like. Let him catch a seam.
Okay.
Or come running down on a punt team, like running straight up, you know, like just kind of tiptoeing down there and see if you can't, like, catch him.
Try to big hit on him.
All right, here's Kelly talking about the defensive playmakers in this game. We talked a little bit about Verse for Florida State. He is an absolute animal for the Noles, but obviously lurking for the Tigers is going to be number 4, Harold Perkins.
On the defensive side of the ball, Harold Perkins, Jared Verse, you're going to see 2 elite defensive players. So it's exciting playmakers.
Quick bite.
Yeah, I guess Lloyd was.
I mean, what is he? What are these bites from Lloyd?
I
mean, he cuts them off before any of the information comes in. Replay that bite. I mean, did my son Jordan cut this up?
On the defensive side of the ball, Harold Perkins, Jared Verse, you're going to see 2 elite defensive players. So it's exciting playmakers.
These things are kind of difficult to cut. I don't know if you were there yesterday.
I was.
But sometimes, like, the media will cut them off.
I hear you, but let it breathe. Give me some info. I mean, like, Jared Verse, Harold Perkins, 2 of the dynamic players. Yeah, no. Tell me about them.
And he's about to.
Right. I mean, he's like about to dive into it.
Just didn't get
and
to
Lloyd cuts it off. Play these bites like down the line. Let's see if we've got any information here. This guy, Lloyd.
This is number 6.
Then sends a text that he's got car trouble this morning. Dog
You're
ate my
going to see 2
homework.
football teams that want to be physical at the point of attack. 2 teams that want to run the football and can run the football. So, you might be looking at 2 teams that mirror each other in a lot of ways.
That wasn't bad. What number was that?
That was number 6.
Okay. He can't screw this one up. This was BK talking about the injury report.
And the great part about it is, we're going to be very healthy from that perspective. When we announced, a month or so ago about injuries, we told you we'd let you know, what that looked like. And so, we've got 3 guys on the injury list. Amani Goodwin will be listed as doubtful. Chemo will be listed as questionable, and Josh will be listed as probable, Josh Williams. So 3 guys on the injury list, and we'll have 1 player unavailable to us, and that's Mason Smith. So, and I think that Mason's situation has been addressed.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's BS.
Bullshit. Sorry, kids.
Here is more from BK yesterday talking, Stewie, this is 11, him talking about the running back room.
Yeah, I think, and that's a good question. I mean, we've been trying to get the running back rotation down. As you know, we've had a number of running backs that have been in and out of the lineup. We mentioned Josh is in a really good position. Amani is not. And other guys have been fighting to get back to full strength, which we are. So trying to get consistency at the running back position, which we think we are getting there. I think the biggest improvement has been the ability of our offensive line to gain the continuity up front, having 5 guys working together consistently, and then the ability to adjust after the snap. As you know, this game is played after the snap. There's so much moving, there's so much stemming. The ability to communicate and do the things necessary after the snap, we're so much further along than we were at any time last year. And so that's encouraging moving forward.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Clinic over at the Grove Complex off of Bluebonnet. Remember, they're open on Saturday mornings with high school football being played now on Friday nights. If you've got an injured athlete, if you need some treatment, if you need to get over and see a specialist, the Grove over at Oshner's facility on Bluebonnet is open 8 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. on Saturday mornings. You can learn more about it online at oshner.org, sports medicine /sportsmed, to get more information. But whether you're a pediatric patient, a high school athlete, if you're a member of the Saints, the Pelicans, a weekend warrior, or even a senior citizen, all of us turn to Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute for care. Find out how you can learn more online today at oshner.org /sports medicine. Here is more from Brian Kelly speaking yesterday to the media, opening game week as the Tigers and Seminoles are going to play coming up here on Friday night, on Sunday night. Here is Kelly talking. This is 9, talking about Mekhi Wingo getting number 18.
We have a history and tradition of awarding jerseys within the program. The number 18 jersey, which signifies and exemplifies the character traits necessary for that person to wear 18. He's got to have the leadership capabilities. He's got to represent incredible traits and somebody that really is going to wear that jersey both on and off the field and representing LSU football. And that number 18 went to Mekhi Wingo. I'm really proud of him.
Wingo, of course, going to be the marquee player on the defensive line this week with no Mason Smith, as Wingo really stepped into a role similar to the situation that he's being placed into on Saturday. Now, look, he's a starter this year. He's not battling for a starting job or to get on the field. He's a player that LSU is going to count on every Saturday. But obviously with Mason Smith out, a lot of the highlight, a lot of the attention for Florida State's offensive line is going to be featured on number 18 just because of his ability. So another Mekhi Wingo stepping into a real pressurized spot here coming up on Sunday night. This is 14, Stewie. This is Kelly talking about Sage Ryan, who's really been a top performer throughout camp. We told you early on that he was getting first-team reps at cornerback. We were nearly laughed off the set that morning when we brought up Sage Ryan, being somebody that could be a dynamic cornerback on this team. Now going into week 1, he is running as a first-team cornerback, and Kelly spoke a little bit why he's been a guy that they've been able to move around here going into the season.
Sage Ryan going to be available this week.
He's going to be versatile. He's fine. Had a, and again, I hate to use terms and with the appearance that I'm trying to make them seem less than they are, but it was a stinger, but it cleared up, and he was able to get back into practice the next day. But we are going to use him both at the nickel and corner position. So he's been cross-trained. A lot of the technical work has been at corner because he knows the nickel position really well. But he's one of our fastest players. You know, he's typically in, you know, when we're talking about GPS speed, he's typically in the high 21 range, and he's topped out at 22. So he can run. He's smart. But I think the thing that has separated him is his ability to tackle in space.
Which I thought.
So, you know, he's going to play to the field, and I think he gives us some great flexibility.
Gotta have him.
A little extended cut there by Lloyd.
Gotta have him.
Wow. Must have fallen asleep on the Sage Ryan bite. But that was the most surprising part of the clip. I thought even sitting in the room yesterday was speaking about Ryan's tackling ability and being a for sure tackler, and the emphasis obviously that Matt House puts on that on all 11 guys. Man, you can hear it if you ever go out to practice on just how important the tackling role is. And you saw it even last week in week 0 of college football. There is a clear indicator, and Lil Jay and I were sitting there on Sunday night watching the Saints and Texans play. I mean, it takes a minute to get going on tackling now and watching football because they just don't do it anymore. I mean, like, we rarely see anybody go to the ground. Now, look, I know that some of these Saturday scrimmages are live and people are getting popped and people are getting wrapped up and taken to the ground and tackled. And, you know, I know that is happening at LSU, but you got to I mean, it's happened 3 times now. They've had 3 scrimmages, 2 scrimmages,
2 or 3,
right? So I mean, like you're looking at a maximum of about 6 hours where you've been live and taken to the ground. I mean, you're about to step into a 3.5 hour game where it's going to be violent. I mean, people are going to be flying around. Everybody's healthy. Yeah. Everybody's 100%, right? I mean, people are going into this game and going to be flying around. And one of the biggest things that you see early on, at least I saw it last weekend, and for USC's sake, let's just hope that is the excuse, because their defense looked pathetic. I mean, but one of their biggest problems were, I mean, they couldn't get anybody to the ground.
I think that's just USC's problem.
It could be, but you look around college football, I mean, even the Hawaii-Vanderbilt game, I mean, a lot of people bouncing off, not being taken down to the ground on first tackle, first contact. You know, I mean, one of the things that obviously you go out to LSU, and it's a lot of emphasis on, you know, I mean, getting the ball to the ground. If you're first one to get to the ball, either hold it up, stop it, and get the, you know, work on getting it to the ground and wait on the cavalry to get there. But I mean, things that we do see early on in football season, whether it's college football. I mean, hell, I was out at a little league game on Saturday morning, and even hearing reports from high school fields on Friday night. I mean, it's still one of the things early on in the season that it just takes a minute to get accustomed to, because it really does. It's non-existent.
Yeah, in preseason for sure.
I mean, it really is. I mean, even on practice fields, you know, I mean, it's rare to see I mean, they call it thud.
Yeah.
Now, where, I mean, you want to run up,
run your feet a little bit,
aggressive. You know, I mean, you want to bring kind of a punch, but nobody's going to the ground. Nobody's running up, wrapping up, and rolling to the ground and getting the ball to the ground. And there's a huge emphasis on that. And it's one of the things early on in the season that when you're watching the games and you see it does take a minute for defensively the tackling to catch up. Offensive line has been a piece that we have talked about a ton here on this show, and looking and reading around the buildup for this Florida State matchup between LSU. It is a highlighted position for LSU going into this game, and Brian Kelly really spells it out here in this last bite of what his offensive line feels like compared to a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be much of a change. I think down the road, as we continue to move, you could see some movement within that top 6, 7. That's very reasonable to expect that there could be some movement there, and that's obviously from some of the freshmen that are coming on. DJ Chester is getting better every day. Obviously Hurd, we've talked about him. Those two guys in particular are making progress every single day. So those two with Martinez, Bordelon continues to improve every day. You've got 8 guys right there that we feel really comfortable about. Chemo's out right now. Hopefully we get him back for the game. He had plantar fasciitis, so we're hopeful. That's a painful thing for your foot, but he's better. But we like what's going on there, and so typically there wouldn't be much movement, but when you're dealing with freshmen, in part of where those 8 or 9 are, there's movement every single day with those guys.
I think he's trying to set up that he wants to play Lance Hurd at the beginning of that bite. And what I read into it was this stage, this game, this opening matchup, especially on the line of scrimmage for LSU in this matchup. Jared Verse is getting all of the attention. They have a transfer from Central Michigan who's going to be an issue as well on that defensive line.
Braden Fish.
They also have the freshman defensive player of the year in the ACC as a defensive end on the other side of Verse. This is a defensive line from Florida State that is going to be maybe the toughest matchup of the season for LSU. And this is before you play an SEC game. There will be teams in the league that may be as good as Florida State, but I think LSU is going to be tough pressed to run into a team that is better than the group that Florida State's going to roll out here in week 1. I mean, it's September 3rd. These guys are fresh off the bus. I mean, they have an off-season worth of training, training camp and fall camp worth of reps, and like we said, I'd imagine Florida State is a lot like other football programs around the country at every level where it's not as physical as it used to be in training camp. Guys usually go into the season a lot fresher than they did in years past, especially around here, right? I mean, there is a huge emphasis on keeping these guys as fresh, loose, and ready to play as possible. And with that, you lose a lot of the intensity of training camp. You lose a lot of the aggressive nature of the sport. So the first time you see it, it's violent. And Sunday night is going to be a hell of a test for this offensive line that I have a ton of confidence in. You can feel around the program that the coaching staff, Brian Kelly, Brad Davis, Mike Denbrock, Frank Wilson, all have huge expectations for this offensive line. I mean, you look at the playmaking capability that they have on the line of scrimmage. I mean, look no further than your left tackle wearing number 7 in his second year.
And you don't think he's excited about seeing Jared Verse again? Remember the first play of Florida State last season?
Absolutely. Stood him straight up, right? I mean,
So Will's been watching that all summer.
Moved him about 3 feet off the line of scrimmage. I mean, but I give Campbell credit. I mean,
he held his own.
He held up that night, right? And that was a hell of a test for him, right? I mean, even somebody as talented as Emory Jones, who stepped in about 3 weeks later and really played up to the standards of an offensive lineman in the league as a true freshman, it took him a minute, right? I mean, you have to think how that will affect Lance Hurd moving forward, right? If his first test is against potentially maybe the best defensive end in college football. I mean, right? I mean, he's probably going to be in the discussion of the first one taken off of the board in the NFL draft. And to me, that's my measuring stick, right? I mean, what's the NFL think about you? Oh, they think he's the best. Okay. Week 1, right?
They thought he was a first-round pick last year.
So, I mean, it's going to be a hell of a test for LSU up front. And you've got guys that now are a little bit more seasoned, but you also have that ornament of Lance Hurd, who they have fallen in love with in training camp. It's obvious that there is a big push to get him on the field. I even think that soundbite is kind of setting it up, right? Where he says, look, there's no movement right now, but down the line, it's open that, 6 and 7 could be up for debate. I think what he's saying is number 6 right now is Lance Hurd, and at some point, they're going to have to shuffle him in. And I wonder if Sunday night is the stage to do it. Because, on the flip of that, if he passes the test and goes in there and holds his own and is able to kind of build off of his first start, I mean, it's not going to be Neville, right? But it also is not Grambling. Hell, it's not even Mississippi State. So, it's a great test. It is one that, from an offensive line standpoint, LSU, with as confident as they feel around the program, around the unit, even for people like us who cover the program and have watched this offensive line kind of build through recruiting and the transfer. We don't talk about Mason Lunsford a lot. I wonder if he's going to play this weekend. I mean, when I hear 6 and 7, I hear Lance Hurd and Mason Lunsford. Mm-hmm. Like, those are the two names that would come. And he talks a lot about
DJ Chester.
Talks a lot about Chester, but he talks a lot about his name's slipping my mind, who he just said had the plantar fasciitis.
Kiko.
Kiko.
I don't know how to say his last name. I'm not
Mahol. Right. I'm not even.
It's
trying.
one of those.
I get Derek and David Carr screwed up.
Right. It's a Samoan last name. Yeah. Don't get me. Don't get me on this. But we have a Jet Seta in the chat, and he must be a Florida State fan.
A lot of Florida State fans.
And he just said Keon Coleman came from Michigan State. Go do your research. I'm actually roommates with somebody who played high school football with Keon Coleman.
What are we talking about? Doing research on what? We haven't brought his name up.
Right. We know how good he is. Like, we know he's good. Like, we know Florida State has good receivers. We know Florida State's a good football team. Like, Florida State fans are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, here's the deal with Florida State fans.
It's been a while for them.
They have not been here in a long time. You're probably talking to a lot of sons, nephews, younger guys that kind of grew up watching their dads, their grandfathers, their older uncles kind of cheer for Florida State back in the 90s when they were the dominant. When I say dominant, I mean, I want to say that they spent 11 years in the top 5.
It was a while.
I mean, it was over a decade that they spent in when we were growing up as kids, we all had Florida State gear. In fact, I mean, a lot of their pipeline of running backs
came from
not only Louisiana, from Baton Rouge. I mean, you had Warwick Dunn into Travis Minor that were 2 freshman starters at Florida State in their prime. I think Travis Minor played 4 years at Florida State, and all 4 years he went to the national championship. I mean, just to kind of give you an idea of how dominant they were, right? But now, I mean, it has been such a long time since they have been relevant. I mean, you can hear the crying of that through people like Danny Cannell, right, who is a former quarterback of Florida State, who I kind of view as a spokesperson of not only the ACC, but kind of the Florida State fan base. And think about every time Cannell opens his mouth. I mean, he sounds like such a weak crybaby.
He sounds like he wants to
pity
cry.
Party. Look it up, you know what I mean? And when I see Florida State, I get that same feeling, especially from a lot of the comments that they leave in the chat. It's a lot of insecurity. It's a lot of little man syndrome. And coming from a 5'9" Italian, that's a stinger. You know what I mean? It's a lot of, and I know that you claim and you reside on the win last year, and it was a win. You got the win, right? But if you look at the second half of that game and you don't see the train like moving down the tracks, that, I mean, you were just kind of running out of time on that. It does this matchup is a huge game for both sides. But let's be real. I mean, LSU definitely has much more experience in these moments, has much more experience of being a relevant brand in the 2000s, the 20-teens, and even through the 2020s. Florida State is kind of trying to make their way back to the party. They're flashing their card and showing you their BCS ball, the crystal ball, where it's like, hey, let us in. We were cool in the 90s. It's like, yeah, I know. But, you know, grandpa and uncle and dad go home. I guess you can send the nephews and the kids in for a little bit.
Kids
right?
been doing the Knoll.
Right. I mean, you've been doing the chomp since he's been in his crib, right? And, you know, things were cool back then before he could walk. You know what I mean? But now, you know, since he's moved off the bottle and the pacifier, Florida State hadn't done anything for 20 years.
2015 is a long time ago, Coach.
Right? I mean, so now back here, it's good to have you back. College football is a better place when you're relevant. I would just say, just kind of chill out, bro. You're freaking everybody out. Like, you're running all the girls away. You're trying to change the music. I mean, the party is cool. We're all having a good time. We've been here for a while, though.
Just vibe, though.
Just chill. Just chill. Like, you're good. You're good.
We get it.
It's a big moment for you on Sunday. LSU's been in these moments countless times over the last decade.
We know the hot girl wants to talk to you.
Sometimes you win SEC championships. Sometimes you win natties. Right? I mean, for you, it's just about playing this Labor Day game against LSU that you're freaking out about. Like, it's a big game. It's a big game. But just for a minute, just take a step back, take a big breath, and just take in the moment, man.
Yeah, I saw a clip of Florida State's big receiver, Johnny Wilson. I think like Pro Football Focus had him on their podcast, and he was saying how it's national championship. It's not even about winning the ACC. And they haven't even won the ACC the last couple of years. So it's like, you got to take that step first, buddy. Like, I mean, I would think so, right?
Wake Forest is a tough loss on the resume.
Ugh.
You know, when you're claiming you're back
and you lose to
and
Wake
you're here,
Forest.
that trip to Winston-Salem is one that you
Oh,
look
they'll do
at
it to
and
you.
you got to think, like, that's a W, right?
They got the pitching lab, Coach.
While they're dry humping each other. I mean, like, I wonder how the football team celebrates. Remember our friends over at Hughes Mechanical. It is hot. It's still hot down here in South Louisiana. If you need your AC serviced, if you need your AC repaired, get in touch with our friends over at Hughes Mechanical Contractors. That's residential and commercial. 225-658-2147. 225-658-2147. A trusted Daikin dealer over at Hughes Mechanical with great warranties that you can learn about just by logging online at hughesmechanical.net. They are headquartered over in Zachary, but serve all of South Louisiana, no matter where you are in South Louisiana, from New Orleans to Baton Rouge to Lafayette, anywhere here in South Louisiana. If you have AC trouble and you need the service and you need the pros to come out from Hughes Mechanical, easy. Get them out there today. 225-658-2147. 225-658-2147 is the number. Hughes Mechanical Contractors, residential and commercial HVAC services for you, and a trusted Daikin dealer over there. Online, hughesmechanical.net. We're going to talk to Wilson Alexander for 30 minutes from now. Wilson's going to be through here 30 minutes from now. We're going to talk to gubernatorial candidate Stephen Wagaspack, who is going to be through here at 8:30 this morning, which we're looking forward to. And then our friend Brent Pitaro, who is the head over there at the Athletic Collection, who's putting out posters. We were teamed up with them during baseball season and had some success moving some product for him. He's going to come through here. We're going to have a game day poster featured every single week here on the Jordy Culotta Show from our friends over at the Athletic Collection. And Brent Pitaro. He's going to be through here at about 8:45, about an hour from now, to show off week one's poster collection. We'll send you a link. We'll get you the link where you can purchase the poster, and you'll have a chance to purchase every single week here on the show. So looking forward to that. We'll be back and close out hour number one here live from the campus of Click Here Digital on this Tuesday morning, where we will talk more LSU football, get you set up for the Tigers and the Noles coming up here in hour 2. Wilson Alexander will check in, all on our Southern Regional Medical Center phone line coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show, built by R&B Builders. Come back with us. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, or a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by R&B Builders. We're on the campus of Click Here Digital every single day. Make sure and follow our friends over at Click Here Digital on their social media. It's easy to find them on Instagram. They got cool content coming out every day, and we're going to start feeding their YouTube page. So if you want to get over, if you don't mind, when we get off the air, if you want to click over there And check out Click Here Digital's YouTube presence. You can subscribe to their page as well, and you'll be getting more content fed to you through that platform as well. We'll be bringing you up-to-date stuff on how they can help you in specific areas, whether you're in automotive, whether you're in legal, whether you're in medical, whether you're just curious about getting your company more leads from the internet. If you're curious about seeing some of these internet ads that get fed to you every day on social media or on Google, how that works, Click Here Digital has mastered how that works. So find out for yourself online, clickheredigital.com, or email me, jordy@clickheredigital.com. No better way to say you're irrelevant by claiming how relevant you are, which is where Florida State is inside the chat now here on this Tuesday of game week. And look, I don't mean this in a degrading way. Well, kinda, I do, in the sense of where you are, Florida State football, and this is a huge season for Florida State's program, right? Like, I mean, like, think about the pressure on Florida State really is there with this team. This is the best roster that Mike Norvell has ever had. Mm-hmm. This is the best team that Mike Norvell has ever coached. Now, there has been a ton of pressure and a ton of heat around Mike Norvell's seat up until about last season when LSU was just horrible on special teams and had a blocked field goal at the end of the game that secured the win for Florida State. At that point, Mike Norvell really became, I thought, as secure and probably really accepted by his administration, his fan base, his program as he had ever become, right? And they do some good things last year, but there is some blemishes on last year's resume and season that you look at, and you have a little bit of anxiety if you're a buyer on Florida State this year. It's like, wow, they look really good on paper. And you've got the experienced quarterback. And you've got the returning guys that decided to come back, and you do some really good things in the transfer portal. You got some special playmakers on the outside that can really change the scoreboard, change the game. But really, there's nothing to look at, grip, and saying that this is why you believe, right? The ACC is a little down. It feels like Clemson's could be back as a national contender, possibly flirting with it. You know, that'll be the biggest game in that conference, right? At least is going to be Florida State and Clemson when they meet. When they meet. But outside of that, the ACC has little, if any, respect from a national standpoint. When you look at least the football, I mean, when the basketball tournament rolls around, there's a ton of respect and a ton of love. But it's weak when it comes to football outside of Tallahassee and Clemson, South Carolina. Right? I mean, okay, Miami, you know, but I mean, like, Miami is kind of how I feel about Florida State 3 years ago, where it's like, man, you want to be back, and it's a lot cooler of a sport when Miami is relevant and Miami is good in football, but they just couldn't figure it out. And Florida State for a while just couldn't figure it out, and it finally felt like they got it straight when they beat LSU last year. But you still had slip-ups against North Carolina and Wake Forest that kind of made you feel like, that's the Florida State I know, right? Like, that's just, it's not Bowden's Florida State where you just knew they were going to roll everybody every time you turned on the television.
It ain't even Jimbo's Florida State.
Right? So this is an enormous season for Mike Norvell and Florida State. Because there's obviously going to be some change next year with their conference. I mean, the way that they are, you know, ramming their pitchfork into the ground saying that they want out and that they'll do anything to get out of the ACC. They're obviously trying to get to the SEC, the Big Ten, to somewhere where, you know, I mean, football means something. So if this is going to be your, you know, kind of your swan song in a weak conference with your best roster, if not now,
when?
If ever, for Florida State, like, I mean, like, if you're going to be good if you're going to be back, if you're going to come, have a seat at this table where LSU, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan are all, hanging out, because those spots are secure with those seats. Like, those programs are there. The ones that are knocking at the door are teams like Texas and Florida State and USC, and Miami's kind of back there too, kind of wondering, hey, you think we can squeeze in with you, Florida State? Like, we've been hanging out in the ACC for a while. Can you get us in? Meanwhile, everybody in Tallahassee's looking for an exit plan in the ACC, and the whole fan base thinks that they're national champs again. Like, this is an enormous season for the Seminoles. That roster is going to turn over next year. No Jordan Travis. No Jared Verse.
No Johnny Wilson. Fintrow Cypress.
Some of these playmakers on the outside are going to be turning over. If you can't win it this year, and you get into the SEC, and you get into the Big Ten, you get into one of those conferences, it's been even longer of a time since you've had to strap it up and play every week. Like, when's the last time Florida State had a schedule where they were tested out of 10 weeks, 7 of them?
You want to hear their schedule this season?
Because I remember when I was growing up and they were dominating everybody. I mean, come on. They were playing. The biggest game of the year was Miami. Florida State-Miami was the Super Bowl every year. Outside of that, I don't think I watched Florida State play, because they were playing Virginia and NC State and North Carolina and Virginia Tech. I mean, it was like, all right. I mean, like, wake me up when they're in the BCS title game, which happened, but you never had to play anybody week in, week out where it was a test, right? That's why SEC teams dominate the postseason, is because once they get there, they've been seeing this stuff every single week. So while everybody's trying to get amped up to play the Southeastern Conference team, it's another day at the lab. So if Florida State's going to do this, and they're going to make their move to the Big Ten or the SEC with some type of reputation, some type of cachet to them, you got to win this year. Like, there is a ton of pressure, because if Florida State loses against LSU, they're out of the discussion. Like, you're out. Like, you're out week 1, because your schedule does you no favors to get you back into it. You had your chance, you played a big dog, and you lost. People are not going to care that it was Labor Day weekend. If LSU loses this weekend, just like they did last year, and they win the SEC West, well, if they go to the league championship and they win the title of the Southeastern Conference, they're going to the Final Four with the loss to Florida State on the resume. Florida State can't work themselves back into discussion. There's no respect. There's nobody on the schedule that people would say, yeah, well, I mean, they beat Virginia.
They beat Syracuse.
Right? Well, I mean, like, they played LSU, and LSU beat them. That was their chance.
Barely beat Florida, too.
So, I hear you, Jet Setter. I mean, I hear you, Florida State fans.
Big chest in the
But
chat
you're still
today.
outside the door, of the big table.
Most production returning in the country. LSU lost too many experienced pieces, is what Jet Setter says. Where?
You got their schedule?
Oh, Florida State, yes, I do. Might get tough. They lose to LSU. LSU week 1, Southern Miss, at Boston College, at Clemson week 4.
I mean, that's the only other chance you got.
Right. Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Duke, at Wake Forest. Could get scary. At Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, and then at Florida.
Okay. I mean,
sounds like we're cupcaking this year, huh?
Just I mean, you better win. You better win on Sunday. Better win. I mean, it's almost it's a 2-game season for Florida State. I mean, really, it comes down to week 1 and week 4. If they beat LSU and they beat Clemson, then they have a chance to work themselves into the Final Four.
He just said LSU lost Ali Gay. Ali Gay had, 2 sacks last season?
Got thrown out of the game. Ali Gay, they upgraded. Bro. They got a 5-star that Maryland's going to play.
We got a 5-star in Savion Jones
that starts
in his spot.
Get the hell out of here. Is that all you got? We'll be back. Hour 2. More Jordy Culotta Show. As always, built by R&B. Ali Gay, get out of here.
Jeez.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about 1 buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on.
Did you do it?
Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by RMB Builders and daily brought to you our friends over at Go Roof. Get in touch with Go Roof online at geauxroof.com. Roof's up with our friends over at Go Roof. You can find them online or you can dial this number, 225-927-8300. Weather's been nuts here in South Louisiana the past couple of days. I mean, like crazy tornadic type winds coming through in the middle of the night and the evenings. Tree branches being snapped. If you got hail damage, if you got roof damage, if you need a pro from Go Roof to jump up on your roof today, whether it's commercial or residential, they can handle both. And tell you if you have any damage. I mean, you may just want to get it inspected. You get a free inspection with our friends over at Go Roof. That's online, geauxroof.com. You can count on them for roof repair, installation, and maintenance. Phone number simple, 225-927-8300. 225-927-8300. Just type that into your contact list over at, if you want to just store it and keep it handy for you. That way you got your roofer on demand if you have any problems with this weather. It's been nuts, man.
Who would you go with on the numbers? Clyde? I'd go Clyde. 5. Keelan Williams.
What are we doing?
The number 225. Now you do the numbers.
Okay, yes.
You got to go Clyde.
Okay, 22.5 is definitely Clyde or Harvey Williams for me. I'm very, I still have the Harvey jersey up here over Tyrann Mathieu on the set from his days with the Raiders. And growing up as a kid, 22 was synonymous with Harvey Williams if you were an LSU fan. I mean, you couldn't see anybody else. It took me until about Clyde to put it on somebody. I thought Christian Fulton kind of broke it for me, and then he changed it to 1. Yeah. But he looked great in 22.
Yeah, he looked great in 1 and 22.
He looked phenomenal in 22. But it was not until Harvey Williams that I could remember anybody else besides Clyde kind of broke that for me in 19. He had such a fantastic year. 5 is Darius Geis or Keelan Williams for me, or it's Reggie Bush. Yeah. I can't see a 5 and not think Reggie Bush.
You think he's going to win that lawsuit with us?
He should.
He definitely
should. He should get his Heisman Trophy back. They should be celebrating him in Troy, in California, at Southern California. He's the best player to ever come through there. And you say that out loud. I mean, like Marcus Allen, O.J. Simpson. I mean, like people like that, like just like
you don't even know
royalty, football royalty. Ronnie Lott,
jeez,
Anthony Munoz. I mean, like Southern California's history is rich.
Indeed.
In football tradition. I mean, like people that I'm not even saying, but those are just some of the headliners that have come out of there. Troy Polamalu. Reggie Bush is the best football player that's ever come out of Southern California program, in my opinion. He was, for people that don't or didn't watch him, you got no idea. I had to show Jordan clips of him at USC, and I mean, like, he was, like, mesmerized. He was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, you don't get it. And when you saw it live, when you would see it in person, when you would, like, you expected it.
Yeah.
I remember that he had a punt return against Oregon State, and we were, like, watching. We were getting ready. We were doing an LSU pregame show, and he was, like, standing back, waiting on the punt, and the announcer was like, I expect him to bring this back. Like, watch out for Bush to take this to the house. And I mean, like, that's just impossible in football to, like, call a moment like that. He makes 2 guys miss. He's up the side, and I think he had, like, his shoe taken off. And he's, like, sprinting down the side. His sock is, like, flopping in the air. He doesn't have a shoe on. It's like he's, like, just, like, stopping on a dime, like, spinning around. And people are, like, grabbing his face mask. Reggie Bush in college. Reggie Bush is the best college football player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There is no, like, I'm telling you, like, 100%. Reggie Bush is the best college football player I have ever seen. I mean,
I'd probably have to agree with you. And I was like Jordan's age when Reggie Bush was at the top of his game at USC. So I was just mesmerized by his stardom.
And if you really want to get freaked out, watch his high school highlights.
Oh my God.
His Helix High school film
is stupid.
It almost looks like a video game.
He shouldn't be playing.
I'm telling you. And the best high school football player I had ever seen up until that point was Travis Minor. Travis Minor was the Gatorade National Player of the Year his senior year in 1997 at Catholic High. I was a true freshman at Catholic. I was not a true freshman. We were just freshmen in high school at Catholic High at that time. And, like, we were going to every game. We were at every, you know what I mean? And he was like that. Like, he was like the dude, like, that you would, like, expect a moment to happen, and he would bust a 90-yarder. He would take a punt back to a house. They went and played West Monroe in the state semifinal game. He took the opening kickoff back to the house at West Monroe. Stewie, it is the most hostile high school football environment I have ever seen. I'm telling you, when Catholic High got off the bus that night,
they're probably throwing piss at him.
Not only that, they were screaming. I mean, you talk about the most vile, the most just, I mean, like, the most racist things you have ever heard. I mean,
West Monroe, coach.
It was West Monroe in the
You don't want to be
mid-90s.
around here, boy.
I mean, it was a lot of boy. A lot of
Boy,
boy.
come here.
I mean, it was.
We're going to be here all night, boy.
And I mean, they probably got off the bus at 3 o'clock, 2:30. It was packed.
Standing room only.
By 7 o'clock, it was a zoo. I mean, it was a jungle, bro. Like, I mean, you were looking around like,
oh my God,
this is Catholic High versus the world.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, they ain't nobody. It was Rocky in Russia, cuz. You know what I mean? Like, it was, the whole world is against us. And the opening kickoff, bro. I got chills talking about this. My hair's standing up on my arm right now. He takes it to, and he like goes in front of West Monroe's sideline. Like he takes it, and it was almost like one of those things where it was like, do you field it or don't field it? Like he was kind of like, and he fields it, dude, and hits the seam. And as soon as he hit it, the whole stadium knew he was gone. Like it was a hush and a silence that you cannot remake. If you're a Hollywood filmmaker, you have to catch it in that moment to have it as real as possible. He cuts through this scene, bro, and like it's over. It's just him and the kicker. You know what I mean? Like, and the kicker's like backpedaling. You know what I mean? He's like, oh my God. And he gets to the sideline and sprints. And I want to say that, and this is fact, and I love Dale Weiner, and his son Neil Weiner is a great high school football coach over at Dunham now. But if there is one game that I could imagine that, and Dale Weiner got his state title before he retired at Catholic High, and I believe played for another one. But I would just say this as somebody who has watched high school football and loves Louisiana high school football from my era on. I got to imagine that game haunts Coach Weiner just because of how good that team was. Is it 8:15 yet? We're about to talk to Wilson Alexander. But that Catholic High team, Stewie, had Major Applewhite was the quarterback. Went on to Texas. He was the Big 12 Player of the Year.
I know exactly.
Travis Minor was the starting tailback. Was a 4-year starter for Florida State in their prime. I mean, I really believe he played for a national championship all 4 years. The backup running back on that team was named Aaron Boone, who ended up being a 3-year starter at cornerback for Clemson. They had a defensive end named that was a starting defensive end for Tennessee. Greg Brown was the safety on that team, was the starting safety for Texas for 2 years. They had 2 offensive linemen. Randy Richard, who's the now disciplinarian over at Episcopal High School, was a 4-year starter at Louisiana Tech at left tackle. I mean, Kendrick Shanklin was the cornerback on that team, was the starting running back for Kentucky, took 2 punts back to the house against LSU for Kentucky. I'm telling you, Coach, they were nationally ranked.
Loaded.
They were loaded, and West Monroe beat them. Travis Minor took the opening kickoff of that game back to the house. He touched the ball 11 times after that night and had 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
And they got beat by 1.
I mean, punch.
He should have touched it 50 times. You know what I mean? It was just,
give it to him every time.
He was the best player on the field, and it wasn't even close. And and West Monroe, that's like Brady James was on that team. Golly, man, they had Adam McConaughey was the player of the year. The next year, Brian Reed was a first round pick of the Chicago White Sox that ended up coming back. Jason Ledoux played for LSU. I mean, that West Monroe team was stacked. And Minor and Catholic, it was incredible, man. I'm sorry I fell down that hole. Remember, our show is brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. Check out Katie's online, katie'sinmidcity.com, katie'sinmidcity.com, as we can get down there. Remember, 11 to 6 now on Sundays, brand new hours for football fans. If you want to watch football games, you can do that there. You can also pre- and post-game over at Katie's. The entire menu is online at katie'sinmidcity.com. All right, Wilson Alexander, who is he covers LSU football for The Advocate and for NOLA.com, ESPN's Rising Star, Edward Ashoff Award winner, here in the offseason as we get ready for another season in covering LSU. Remember, I tell you every week, you got to follow him on Twitter. You got to keep up with what's going on. And every Tuesday at 8:15, you can catch him right here on the show. Wilson, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Doing well. Good morning, Jordy.
All right, so LSU yesterday, our first Brian Kelly press conference. Man, Kelly's loose, right? I mean, if we're just kind of going off of body language and just kind of him at the podium, I thought very loose here in week one, which to me kind of defines that he knows he's got a really good team he's taking over to Orlando.
He's always very good in those settings too, right? I mean, he's cracking jokes in press conferences most of the time. Even if there's something going on in the program that maybe could be a distraction for him in those, it never seems to show up. Yesterday was particularly so. It was kind of a strange presser in that somebody's chair broke in the middle of it, and that was certainly – but he just rolled with it, right? And he does seem loose. I mean, in terms of, like, when you look back over the whole month, I mean, opening practice as much as he did was unusual for a coach at this level, and sort of being ahead on the injury report that other folks have caught up to now. I mean, he seems like he's not he's at least sort of putting that image forward, certainly, as we head into the season.
He talked about the quarterback, Jaden Daniels, and I thought another very confident answer from Brian Kelly about how he feels about his signal caller going into this opening game. What is your feel of Daniels heading into this season? I saw that he gifted his teammates and his coaching staff of one of his NIL deals some headphones. It seems as if he is the true leader of this team heading into week one.
He is. Coming off of last season, he certainly has sort of asserted himself more, not in a way that's players have said, like rude or anything, but like he's sort of just showing that side of himself. When he came in, Jaden's more of a calm, reserved guy. He's not going to be super loud and rah-rah, but he, over the course of now over a year plus at LSU, has kind of emerged as that leader in the room and a guy that people can follow, because he didn't come in and just try to instantly take over the program. But he is now, sort of clearly has that presence about him, at least according to players. And yeah, he has gotten a couple of NIL deals here recently that have been announced. And you see Power Rate billboards now on Nicholson that he, right not too far from the stadium with that. And then, of course, got the Beats deal and gave those headphones to the team and even to the coaching staff. And in terms of what to see on the field, LSU has been really high on what they've seen out of him since the spring. We're going to have to, once we see it in the games, but Mike Dimbrock, said that Jaden feels like he can let it rip a little bit more. And, they can be a little bit more aggressive in that mindset. I just still don't expect him to be just chucking the ball downfield every other play, but at least trying to fit throws into tight windows, be aggressive over the middle, and then just take the shots when they're there. LSU, in terms of trying to get more exposed in the downfield passing game, it's not all just on Jaden throwing the ball really deep. There's different things that they're going to be trying to do with their route combinations and play calling to make that happen as well.
Did you learn anything about running back yesterday, hearing him talk about the position and ultimately what he wants to find there?
Not really. It's great that Josh Williams is healthy again, and that he is actually going to be, close to full go or even full go, here in the opener. We talked to Josh last week during play interviews, and he said that he was feeling fine again, that after sitting out for about 10 days or so. That's really the only thing that's new there. And the fact that Armani Goodwin is actually doubtful for this game, because Brian Kelly had said last week that Armani was back at practice, but clearly is not going to be quite ready for the game yet. But there's really no answers at running back in terms of how that's actually going to shake out once they get into a game.
Speaking of the wide receivers, I thought his answer on Malik Neighbors yesterday has been, just a continued praise for the junior wide receiver on just his ambition and motivation going into this third year. Where is your expectation going into this season for Malik?
Maybe too high. I guess I don't like to put super high expectations on anybody in the hopes that don't want them to fall short of that. But Malik has just looked fantastic during preseason camp. He's making grabs every single time that we were out there that just sort of made you marvel. I mean, the way he was able to go up and get contested catches, he's so good at that there was often times when, Zy Alexander in particular was often the one covering him, where Zy would have decent coverage and Malik would just go up and make a play anyway. He almost acrobatic in some of the catches that he made, really sure-handed, getting separation, so quick and shifty in crisp in his routes. I mean, he looks like he's going to has the potential to have another 1,000+ yard season, and not just have one where it really comes on strong at the end of the year, but like start to finish playing really, really good football. Brian Kelly has attributed a lot of that to his growth off the field and just kind of the mindset that he's now coming with, because he said the skill set's always there, but Malik's practice habits are a lot better. And so that should lead to some consistency start to finish during the season if between games he's equally consistent in playing at a high level.
Wilson, I know you've seen the scrimmages and all the practices. How much do they go live in tackling, and then how much do you expect tackling to be not necessarily an issue this weekend, just kind of where do you expect it to be in the terms of just the skill? It seems it's always trying to catch up at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it is. It's something that, once you actually go and play another team, you kind of have to get used to doing that, because LSU, especially in this day and age, they don't tackle to the ground every single day. There's a lot of days, especially early in campus, they're still getting acclimated. A lot of days that are just thud. And certainly there are other days, even later in the season, or in the preseason, when they're not tackling all the way to the ground, because Brian Kelly is really strategic and really tries to be in kind of how much of that they're doing. He doesn't want injuries, and he also doesn't want to tire these guys out over the course of a long preseason, especially like this one where it was just so hot. So they have been outside a lot in terms of getting acclimated to the weather. Brian Kelly wanted to get up to a point where they could go for an hour and a half outside and no one needed an IV, which was not the case at the very start of camp. It seems like they've gotten there. Certainly we saw them, for almost 3 hours in Tiger Stadium during their scrimmage a couple weeks ago. Tackling by the end of that had gotten a little bit poor, and Brian Kelly attributed some of that to Caleb Jackson's really long runs. So maybe there wasn't some great tackling in that situation. So we'll have to kind of see, against Florida State, where the tackling exactly is at. It usually, like you said, takes a little bit of time. But that's kind of, it's still, I don't expect it to be like a major issue. That's also something they're even prioritizing when thinking about these cornerback spots. Is Brian Kelly keeps saying how much Sage Ryan is a good tackler.
Yeah.
And so that's something that they value.
Really, that's where I was going next, because that was the most surprising comment in his answer on Sage Ryan to me. We know Sage Ryan's an athlete. The speed stuff, the athleticism, the game type breaking ability you've been seeing from, since he's been a freshman in high school. His ability to tackle seems like that's been the real thing that's getting him on the field.
It does. It makes some sense here, right? So Deuce Chestnut, not to say that Deuce is a bad tackler or something, but he's more of the corner where he's going to try to go in there and break up a play. He's really headsy, he likes to get stuff underneath. He'll go in there and put his nose in there, but they're really talking about Sage in that way quite a bit. And that seems to be the thing that's maybe separating him from Deuce a little bit right now, is that he is a sure tackler, and they really like that quality, because Brian Kelly said that they had some concerns, and I'm not sure exactly if it's like, oh man, this is not a good tackling team, but it's something that they really, really want to have on the outside. There is just really good tackling, and I don't know what that says exactly about where they're at cornerback, but I think maybe at this point it says more about what they think about Sage. Because like you said, the speed is really there. Brian Kelly said he's getting into the high 21 mile per hour range, even topping out at 22. And athletically, like you said, everything that you want has always been there. It's just a matter of him sort of taking that next step and developing. But in terms of how he is as a tackler, they really like that physicality that he could bring to the position, if that's where he ends up playing, because it could be there or nickel.
I also loved his answer on Harold Perkins, but one thing about Perkins this year is he's no secret, right? I think the best part about him last year was that his highlights were so great early on, because just like people were like, oh my God, what do you do? Nobody was ready for him. Now everybody's going to be prepared for him. How do you expect they use him? What does success look like for Perkins this year?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because actually Florida State is going to have no idea exactly what's coming with Harold, because they didn't play him last year. They don't have tape of what Harold was doing in that opener, because he wasn't on the field yet. But also now there's just sort of this air of mystery around what exactly Harold's role is going to be, because he's playing inside, yes. He has moved to be sort of a more total linebacker than just somebody who's coming off the edges or being that spy sitting there right at the line of scrimmage. He's going to be all over the place. We've seen him, covering guys in the slot, sort of dripping out into the flat and zone coverage. And we've seen him, and I think this is most importantly, coming off the edge on third down in particular. The interesting thing is going to be first and second down. Are they getting to second and long, per se? Are they going to bring Harold off the edge and try to create some havoc with him in that situation? Or is he going to be, an inside linebacker? The thing to note, though, like all of this is sort of saying, is that he's not going to just be sitting in the middle of the field in the box, very stagnant, sort of letting teams come to him. Brian Kelly, I think the most interesting or enlightening maybe part of that yesterday was him saying that they want teams to have to look, opposing quarterbacks have to look around every single play pre-snap to find Harold Perkins. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to be somewhere where they can easily look up and be like, all right, Harold's in that spot every single time. He is going to be someone, like Brian Kelly said, that they have to find and then account for on every play, because LSU's going to move. Matt House loves to be creative, and Harold is a really versatile piece, maybe the most versatile piece of this defense, and it's going to be fascinating to watch how that unfolds, especially against Florida State without Mason Smith.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, and I know the coverage is going to be extensive over at the Advocate, NOLA.com, but what's one thing LSU has to do to win the game? If they do this one thing, what is that they win the game if they do it?
To me, it comes down to coverage of Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman and Jaheim Bell, that sort of group of receivers / tight ends that Florida State has. If it can get Jordan Travis kind of off of his spot and disrupt the rhythm of that Florida State offense, then I like the chances. Because my questions aren't necessarily with the offensive side of the ball as much as, they are going to have to try to block Jared Verse and do those kinds of things offensively, score a good number of points. They need to make enough defensive stops. So to me, it comes down to that. Johnny Wilson, how do you cover a guy who's 6'7", Keon 6'4"? Like, Florida State's got a lot of length out there, and Zai's long too at 6'2", but that's going to be probably kind of the matchup to watch for me. It's just those corners against those receivers and what else you can do on the defensive front to maybe give those guys some help in the back end.
Wilson Alexander every Tuesday right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. He is covering LSU for NOLA.com and The Advocate. You can find him on Twitter at WHAlexander_. He is a must-follow for LSU football going into the season, and we will talk to him next week. Wilson, good to see you. Thank you, man.
Good to see you too, Jordy. Have a good one.
All right, there he is, Wilson Alexander, checking in. Make sure to read his work over at NOLA.com and at The Advocate. Remember, we're brought to you today by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. No social media, no website, just a direct line of access to the owner, Jude Barker, and the crew. 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431 is the phone number. And you mentioned the show, you save yourself 15%. That service call is anywhere. South Louisiana. Got a couple of trucks in Baton Rouge. They're in West Baton Rouge. They're all over the place. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Call them today. 225-776-2431. Mention the show. Save 15%. Our next guest is tasked with flushing out all of the crime, all of the corruption, all of the traffic, all of the problems of Louisiana. Stephen Waguespack has thrown his name into the gubernatorial race, and he is stopping by again next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We always love to catch up with Wags and see what it's like going on the campaign trail. So come back with us. Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by RMB Builders, live here on the campus of Click Here Digital every single day.
Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver.
Favorite pregame meal?
Popeyes.
What would winning a national championship mean to you?
It would mean a lot to me because, we seen a lot of the greats come through here, won their national championship, got, remembered for life.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably fly. That or telekinesis.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Do it wrong, do it long. Do it right, do it light.
Kyra Lacey, wide receiver, number 2.
Do you have any nicknames?
K2.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Stay humble.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly. I be flying in my dreams.
What's been the highlight of your partnership with us?
The bike giveaway was one of the best things. I was pretty excited about that one. Texas A&M, I just got a point to prove because last year I dropped 2 balls I should have caught. I'm coming for them for real.
That's it.
Thank you, man.
My name is Harold Perkins, and I play linebacker.
What's your favorite pre-game meal or snack?
Pasta with a little steak, something that's not too heavy.
Any superstitions or pre-game rituals?
I pray a lot. Just be me and God before the game. Perky worky. I like when they call me the percolator. I like that.
If anyone gets in a wreck, who should they call?
Gore.
Where were you born at, Greg?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I claim 504 food because I was raised there my whole life. Favorite type of food is spaghetti. But you need to try spaghetti with some corn on the side. Funniest person, I'd probably get Kyron Lacey. He be having joked out every time I talk to him.
Who's the most athletic?
You know, besides myself, Perk or Malik. Future self, just take one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're doing something, just be where your feet are. Make sure you give 100% effort.
What is something on your bucket list?
Win a Super Bowl. That's definitely on my bucket list.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time traveling.
Who's the fastest on the team?
Like in a short span, I would say quick trigger, I'm taking Perk. One thing most people don't know about me, probably that I moved 12 times growing up, 12 different states.
Who's the most savage on the team?
Mason Smith. Mason Smith, definitely.
And who gets it done?
Gordon.
Thank you, man. That's great.
Emory Jones, right tackle.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Got it from my mom, and she just told me, always keep your head on the swivel.
Favorite subject?
Math, easy. I kind of keep it light. Give me some type of red beans or something like that, throw a little cornbread on the side.
Light with red beans.
Yeah, just a little bit. I am superstitious. I got some PSDs that's purple and yellow and white. I wear them every game. I feel like they my lucky draws, and you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep doing it.
You can't put the cart before the horse. That'd be like, will you marry me?
Do I know you?
Never sign a contract with a roofer before he gets on your roof. Call Go Roof instead. We offer a free, no obligation inspection. A beautiful roof every shingle time. Bobby, goes in the front.
Go Roof. Belmont Stakes Race Training.
I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof. Go Roof.
Kentucky Derby training. I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof. Go Roof.
Of the. All right, welcome back here, Jordy Culotta Show. As always, live here from Click Here Digital Campus, as we tell you every day about Click Here Digital, man. Love our partners, love being a part of the team, man. Over 120 employees and 20,000 plus square feet of business and office space. Full digital marketing stacks, from social media plans to Google ads to driving leads and clicks to your website, whatever it is. Click Here Digital can help you. I'm a direct contact. If you need more information, just email me, Jordy@clickheredigital.com, Jordy@clickheredigital.com. All right, somebody who's making waves not only in media, it feels like I'm seeing Stephen Waguespack all over the place, and it's great to see because he is in the gubernatorial race, and he is qualified for the race, so it's legitimate, and he's coming out of kind of the poll season here to kind of explain where we are in the schedule and what's coming up. Is somebody who's on the ballot, a good friend, and always great to see Stephen Waguespack, who is in studio with us here on the show this morning. So, Wags, good morning. Great to see you.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing good, man.
Man, I love the new
good.
studio. The digs
Thank
are great. It's got a good temperature in here, and obviously the gear is always great around here. So awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So
happy for you.
Thank you very much. And same to you, because I know that it's. You know better than anybody, right? The political landscape of Louisiana is, man, you can't be fearful if you're going to get into
That's right.
it. And so I would just kind of ask you, somebody who's had so much success of running lobby and seeing that from kind of the front line of it, what's it like to be where you are now as a qualified member of the gubernatorial race?
Yeah, it's a great question. And look, it was hard to step away from lobby.
Yeah.
It was a good job, and look, good income provided for my family, and had a great board working with me. But at the end of the day, I was in that job because I've always been wired to kind of help Louisiana reach its potential. That's always been what wired me. And I'm truly worried about where we are as a state. And I'm not trying to blame any one person or one cause or whatever, but we have to be honest with ourselves. Louisiana is losing people. We're losing industries. We're losing jobs. We're falling behind on key metrics, on things like education and crime and all that stuff. And one family after another is leaving for other states. And to me, it was just a wake-up call that I couldn't avoid. And so we got in the race. I stepped down from a good job, got in the race, and it's been, about 6 months. And, we're getting fantastic response. And, I was kind of making the analogy to you earlier before we started this. I've been in training camp, and we got out of the summer conditioning program, and now we're in training camp. We're learning the new plays. But look, we're about to kick off. We're about 6 weeks away from the election. We're about a month away from early voting. So this is game time. And, our view the whole time was when you get to September, you get to Labor Day, it's back to school and back to football. And so people start dialing in, they start paying attention. And so we're really going to ramp up. And so we're trying to make September kind of our time to shine and deliver our message to the state that, look, it's time to start believing in Louisiana again. It's time to start raising our expectations. We don't have to just accept the fate of always losing other states. We can draw a line in the sand and have one of those great turnaround moments, and that's what we're trying to start here.
Yeah, how do you use football season to kind of create momentum, because it's such a big event in this, not only at LSU and on the campus, but everywhere?
Man, and we're kind of a grassroots campaign. I'm out and about everywhere, and so if there's a back road in the state, I've driven on it 3 or 4 times, meeting with folks. So that's part of it, going out. I was at the Louisiana Tech game last weekend. Wow. Went out there and saw that exciting finish on FIU and saw that. So that was a good ending there, and met a ton of people. So football's a great opportunity to go out and meet people because they're in a good mood. They want to socialize. They don't mind someone walking up saying, "Hey, my name's Wags. I want to talk to you about Louisiana's future." They're kind of cool with it because they got a drink in their hand or whatever. So football tailgating's a great time to do it. And also, I want to be serious about this. Football and back to school. During the summer, it's hot. People go on vacation. They're checked out. They want to break from the world and reality. But now you got to get back into your daily schedule, your weekly schedule. People are ready to start thinking again about what's on the plate. The perfect time for them to talk about this. And so we're seeing an engaged public kind of come back to us and be open to these conversations that we want to have.
What are the high points? I mean, I know you're running on the high points, but what are the issues? What's the focus?
Man, to me, it's all about jobs. When we lose population each year and each decade, we lose 2 different types of people. We lose those 20-year-olds who just get out of college and they go to Texas to get a good job. They leave for the job. They fall in love with the quality of life there. And so we got to rebuild that job base. We got to rebuild that quality of life here and kind of attract those kids. And then we lose the what I'll call the later in life, the retirees. People either leaving for low taxes or they're going to chase their grandkids. And either way, we got to stop those two population bleeds. So that's a big thing. I think the other factor we have to be mindful of in Louisiana is we've got a high poverty population. We've got to do a better job of meeting people where they are and giving them pathways to success. I've got a big plan on high school redesign. I got a big plan on mentorship, soft skills, career guidance in our K-12 schools. There's so many kids who they don't know what to hope or aspire for. You got to get down their level, talk to them, say, look, there's a great future for you here in Louisiana. Maybe it's 4-year college, maybe it's not. Maybe it's 2-year college, maybe straight to career. There's no shame. There's no scarlet letter on any choice you make. There's a great pathway for you. And I want to encourage schools to bring in local partners, open the eyes of some of these children, because if we do, they'll understand there's a value for them here. If they get the right skills, they get the right training, they get the right attitude, and then we can kind of have a workforce that we can sell. We can reduce some of this crime impact we're seeing in the juvenile phase. And I think education and jobs is a great way to not just solve our economic issues and population issues, but also reduce some of these crime issues we're facing.
What's it like building a team for this? I mean, you got to have great people behind you.
You got to build the rocket while you're flying, man. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And so you're putting a team together quickly. And look, this is you're putting your family's reputation on the line. You're putting your family out there. It's tough. You know, my wife has a business, and we work hard during the day, and we work on campaign at night, et cetera. My kids have to have thick skins. I've already been attacked like 5 or 6 times with mailers and commercials and things like that. And I just tell my kids, like, look, your dad, you ask me any questions you want, and your dad's proud of what he stands for. And he's never going to sell himself or sell his soul to win some race. I'm going to be a genuine version of myself to people, and I think it's going to sell. But I'll tell you, no matter what happens on October 14th, I'm going to sleep like a baby that night. And the next day, I'm either going to be proud to get to work to help save this state, or I'm going to be proud to kind of hug my family and kids and say, hey, look, your dad stood up for the right thing, and let's move on to the next hill to climb.
Absolutely. Where do people learn more?
wagsforla.com. I got all kind of policy issues and all that stuff, and you can learn about me and my family and everything. You can also donate there in case there's money burning a hole in your pocket. We always use resources. But look, man, I really just want people to elevate their expectations for Louisiana. Our biggest issue, Jordy, is a culture of low expectations. People in this state have tolerated stuff that other states will not tolerate, and we can have our cake and eat it too. And I want people in Louisiana to strive for higher, and I hope that turns into votes for me. But even if it doesn't, I hope it turns in for a higher expectation for everyone elected all throughout our state.
wagsforla.com. wagsforla.com. It's a great website. I mean, as soon as you click on it, you learn about Stephen Waguespack. You see the love that he has for Louisiana. Look, whatever side of the aisle it is, right? I think we can all genuinely care and say that we love the state. We want the best for it.
Amen.
And, you know, wagsforla.com is a great testimonial to that. It's always great to see you.
You as well. And I just got to throw this in. I'm high on the Tigers this year, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm just telling you.
I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are. Brian Kelly year 2, and now year 2, there's something in the water down here.
I almost feel bad for Brian Kelly because he overachieved last year.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is that should have been the set expectation year. Instead, he raised expectations. I think he's done a fantastic job. You know, we're depending on some transfers to step up. You know, if you'd asked me a year ago who's Zy Alexander, I wouldn't know.
Right.
But right now, I tell you, man, we're leaning on that dude.
That's right.
And so there's a lot of guys like that. I'd love to have Mason this weekend, but I think they built depth there on the D-line. So I think we're going to be a force to reckon with. And I love the fact that in the SEC, it's not like a murderer's row of proven quarterbacks.
That's right.
There's a lot of teams with questions right now. So it's not a bad year to go in with the type of questions we have as compared to other teams.
It's LSU's got the best quarterback in the league going into the year.
Amen.
Going into the year. Wags, great to see you.
You as well.
Good luck, man. There he is, Stephen Waguespack, running for governor. You can learn more about it, wagsforla.com, wagsforla.com. Come back with us. We'll close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show, live from Click Here Digital every single day. Hit that like button, share button, comment button, subscribe if you have not done so. Come back with us. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On the Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot. Oh, yeah. Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, or a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up. Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show is always live here on this Tuesday. These are brought to you daily by our RMB Builders. You can find them online, rmb-builders.com. Made a hard left there. Talked a little politics. Appreciate you following us down the road there. We'll have, time to time, we'd like to talk a little bit about it. Look, man, we love the state of Louisiana. From here, and know that Louisiana suffers in a lot of categories that mean a lot to productive states, and want to see that stuff change, right? I mean, but what Louisiana does great, we do awesome. What we're bad at, we're awesome at being bad at. And if we could ever meet the two in the middle, who knows? It could probably be a lot cooler of a place. So appreciate it. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. We are proud to be linked up with our guy Brent Pitaro again over at the Athletic Collection. He has done phenomenal work. We were linked up with him in baseball season, and he's doing these customized game day posters, which we are going to partner with him. And every single week, there will be a game day themed poster that you will have the opportunity to purchase right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We welcome Brent back into the conversation here on this Tuesday morning. Brent, good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Man, I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.
One cool thing about the posters here is it's all NIL related. So the player that's featured on the poster gets a little NIL little NIL money from each purchase. Too.
Beautiful. So tell me about the posters. Look, it's got to be difficult to get the license to do this stuff. This is a very competitive space, first and foremost. But when it comes down to it, you're the guy, right? I mean,
yeah. So we're the poster, the kind of the NIL poster company. I don't know of many, if there is any other competitors out there, but kind of what we've kind of stood out with the posters. It's a cool poster, but it's also an augmented reality poster. So it's more than just a poster. So after each game, we'll take some highlights from the game, and then we're going to put them on our app. So when you download the app, you scan the poster, and then highlights will start playing over the poster. So it's kind of a cool little kind of capture the memory. You go to the game, get the poster, and then you'll always have that memory and, right there on your wall where it's not just another thing on the wall just stare at.
So we will have a Jordy Culotta Show link for our listeners and our viewers that you can find all over our social media, that you'll be able to find everywhere, anywhere you can find us. So tell me how you get to the themes each week.
So I'm an LSU fan. I graduated from LSU. So I kind of, I follow the team. So I kind of just come up with something that I think the fans will like, what I will like, and kind of go from there. Week one, kind of pick Jaden Daniels to be it. I'm expecting a big season out of him. So we rolled with Jaden Daniels for week one. Not really sure who we're going to go with for week two yet, but kind of beauty of what we do is it's all last minute. And we'll kind of roll with that as the season goes along.
So tell me how the NIL partnership comes in. So you are partnered with these athletes?
Yeah, so we reach out to the athletes, most all individual NIL contracts with them. We reach out to them, say, hey, we want to put you on a poster, kind of make you some extra money. And typically most of the players want to do it. There are some players that aren't able to get in touch with, and it's okay by me because they're focused on football.
Sure.
But for the most part, when we're able to get in touch with the players, it's kind of a no-brainer for them. That we make it where they don't really have to do anything. All they have to do is play football and let me take care of the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super easy for them. They don't have to do anything. We don't ask a lot out of them. We just tell them, hey, go play football, and we'll make posters of it.
Absolutely, man. It is. It's a cool vibe, man. It's one of the things that I think has been able to make it through a digital world, right? Like a lot of the things that we grew up on was not able to make it because of just how digital. I mean, think about photographs, right? I mean, like my grandmother, my mom, I mean, like they've got photo albums, by the decades. I mean, the modern day photo album is Instagram, right? I mean, everybody's got a digital photo album that you can collect forever now. I mean, one thing that was cool growing up was posters on the wall.
I grew up with a Ken Griffey Jr. poster on the wall, Barry Sanders. I remember going.
I had the bow nose in the when he had the shoulder pads and the bat. I mean, I had the Michael Jordan who could, the flying. I mean, like the posters on the wall as a kid.
Yeah,
was
and
different.
especially in like today's like social media world, like LSU has a great social media team and everyone talks about it. It's basically just a big blown up social media graphic that everyone kind of goes crazy about, and it's just a kind of cool way to support your team, players, and get it on the wall with the augmented reality portion of it is always a good talking point when you got buddies over for the game and all that kind of stuff.
So Jordy Culotta Show social media. Stewie has put a link inside of the chat that you can scoop up the game day poster this week for Jaden Daniels. You want to hold that up, Brent? Let our viewers see this week. We got to zoom in there, Stewie.
So when you buy one, it'll come with like a little card where it'll have a QR code on the card, where you'll be able to. It'll take you to download our app to scan it for the video portion of it.
Beautiful.
So we'll make it super easy for you. Frames not included unless you want to add a frame. Nice. I always say that. Just don't want to make anyone upset if they don't get a frame.
That's right. Brent Pitaro, a great partner with us over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. He's heading up the athletic collection. You can scoop up the game day themed poster each week right here on the show, as we'll have a link every day inside the chat, and we will have it all over our social media. Brent, great to see you, buddy.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys.
Always. We will be back and close it right out here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Come back with us. We got a thought on Arik Gilbert. Sad situation up in Lincoln, Nebraska, with former Tiger Arik Gilbert this morning. We will talk and react right here next on the Jordy Culotta Show and close it out on this Tuesday live from Click Here Digital. Make sure and like, subscribe, share, interact over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be back. Thank you.
Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver.
Favorite pregame meal?
Popeyes.
What would winning a national championship mean to you?
It would mean a lot to me because, we've seen a lot of the greats come through here, won their national championship, got, remembered for life.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably fly. That or telekinesis.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Do it wrong, do it long. Do it right, do it light. Kyra Lacey, wide receiver, number 2.
Do you have any nicknames?
K2.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Stay humble.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly. I be flying in my dreams.
What's been the highlight of your partnership with us?
The bike giveaway was one of the best things. I was pretty excited about that one. Texas A&M, I just got a point to prove because last year I dropped 2 balls I should have caught. I'm coming for them for real.
That's it. Thank you, man.
My name is Harold Perkins, and I play linebacker.
What's your favorite pre-game meal or snack?
Pasta with a little steak, something that's not too heavy.
Any superstitions or pre-game rituals?
I pray a lot. Just be me and God before the game. Perky worky. I like when they call me the percolator. I like that.
If anyone gets in a wreck, who should they call?
Gore.
Where were you born at, Greg?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I claim 504 because I was raised there my whole life. Favorite type of food is spaghetti. But you need to try spaghetti with some corn on the side. Funniest person I'd probably get Kyron Lacey. He be having me joked out every time I talk to him.
Who's the most athletic?
Besides myself, Perk or Malik. Future self, just take one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're doing something, just be where your feet are. Make sure you give 100% effort.
What is something on your bucket list?
Win a Super Bowl. That's definitely on my bucket list.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time traveling.
Who's the fastest on the team?
Like in a short span, I would say quick trigger, I'm taking Perk. One thing most people don't know about me, probably that I moved 12 times growing up, 12 different states.
Who's the most savage on the team?
Mason Smith, definitely.
And who gets it done?
Gordon.
Thank you, man. That's great.
Emory Jones, right tackle.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Got it from my mom, and she just told me, always keep your head on the swivel.
Favorite subject?
Math, easy. I kind of keep it light. Give me some type of red beans or something like that. Throw a little cornbread on the side.
Light with red beans.
Yeah, just a little bit. I am superstitious. I got some PSDs that's purple and yellow and white. I wear them every game. I feel like they my lucky draws, and you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep doing it.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on. Did you do it? Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
All right, welcome back as we close it out here live on this Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. We appreciate everybody for stopping in, interacting, and being a part of today's show. Wilson Alexander for stopping in. Always great to check in with Wilson. We had Stephen Wagaspack who came through as well this morning. And then Brent Pitaro from the Athletic Collection, who's going to help us out with some game day posters each week. As you can find the link inside the chat. It will be all over social media today. As we will be live each week with a game day poster for you to chat to pick up. One quick news story before we get out of here. The Arik Gilbert story coming out of Lincoln, Nebraska is extremely sad, as he was arrested this morning on a burglary charge in Lancaster County. Arik Gilbert, who has now played and been to a couple of schools after transferring from LSU in 2021. He committed to Florida. He decommitted from Florida. He committed to Georgia. Was at Georgia. He decided to transfer again. He needed a waiver. He got the waiver signed. He's been a part of Nebraska's program. But head coach Matt Rule made a comment and said it's still in progress. Out of respect, I'm not going to broadcast all of the different things, but they're still just looking for some finality, and everybody's working hard to get it done. This is talking about his eligibility. But it is a very sad story for Arik Gilbert. As someone who has met Arik and knows that he deals with some mental health issues that have seemed to haunt him here in his early adulthood. And to see the news this morning is beyond concerning for Arik, and hopefully at some point, at one day, he can get it right. It's way more than about the football player. He's got a talent and a God gift that a lot of people in the world do not have, and hopefully that can help him find some sense of peace and health from a mental standpoint. But the news this morning, Arik Gilbert arrested on burglary charges at the University of Nebraska. You just hope that at some point it can work out. Hit that like button, share button, comment button from Click Here Digital every single day. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
One of the biggest what ifs in LSU history, probably?
Absolutely. Not only in LSU history.
Just college football.
At some point, he's playing himself into like an athlete history.
Jeez.
Len Bias type stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man.
You start feeling bad for the kid.
You gotta get that stuff right,
point.
man. You gotta get that stuff right. Okay. All right, we'll be back with you tomorrow. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Thanks for everybody's interaction. Wednesday, what do we got, Stewie? Wednesday. We got a big show. I don't know. I'll tell you on social media. What you got?
JD tomorrow.
Shay tomorrow.
Shay. JD.
Yeah, Shady. All right, we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Jordy Culotta Show.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next? Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta.